Limpopo, where the Malamulele Hospital management in the Vhembe District Municipality has dismissed reports that the facility has been shut down following reports of a power outage. Management says the hospital remains fully functional, with all essential services continuing as normal. The power outage has only affected the TB ward, and patients there are currently being assisted by nearby hospitals to ensure uninterrupted care. Nonhlanhla Ntshingila has more from Thohoyandou in the Vhembe District Municipality in Limpopo. Nonhlanhla, good afternoon. So it's a critical time for the province, for that region, with the floods happening and the number of people that need to have assistance, but also in terms of the TB ward itself and those patients who were receiving treatment in the TB ward. What's the fuller picture that is emerging about this story about a power outage, the extent to which it has affected the hospital and care being given at the hospital?
Well, good afternoon to you, Tula Sizwe, and also to our viewers at home. Finally, we are here in Malamulele Hospital. It took us a year and a half to get here, but we are here. And we did hear the CEO telling us that they are having difficulties with the power outage, but however, the hospital is fully functional. But just to hear more about this situation, I'll be joined by Ronald Mabasa, who's going to take us through as to what really happened. When did this power outage begin? Sir, thank you so much for joining us. Can you briefly tell us what really happened here?
Oh, thank you, Nonhlanhla. What has happened was on the 14th, where we had the second kiosk that has actually bursted. And then that is when we started to take it as an emergency. And we activated all our systems until on the 14th, the service provider came to view the situation. And from yesterday, they were busy trying to take out every cable that has bent inside, meaning that they are on site to try and restore electricity. Our technicians within the hospital have done their best to make connections to all the units. It is only the TB ward which is adjacent to where the eruptions had been, that is actually now affected. In the rest of the hospital, we've made connections, and the hospital is operating very well to an extent that there are no services that are affected to an extent of returning patients back to the community. It is just that yesterday, between 11 and 12, there were allegations that patients are being returned. They are turned back from the hospital, which was not correct. We are happy also that the provincial spokesperson have rebutted such allegations, and we are continuing to do the same, to say everything is well at Malamulele Hospital except for the restoration of electricity, which we are taking as an emergency.
So can you please clarify for us, was this outage caused by the floods or it was something else?
Yeah, Nonhlanhla, we want to believe so, because the soil has been saturated with water, and anything could happen to the supply of electricity, because it's like there was just an interruption and an explosion, which we think is really related to the current continuous rainfall that we are continuing to have.
So which other alternatives does the hospital provide, or did you take since the power outage? Because earlier on when you spoke, you told us that you are working closely with another hospital.
Yeah, we are just between Chididzini Hospital, which is for 34 kilometers from us here, which immediately on the day of this occurrence, we made arrangements with my colleague, the CEO of Chididzini, that we conduct all our emergency cesarean sections there and until the situation is normalized. And then we are also next to Kansani Hospital, which we have requested to help us with all the necessary X-rays that we will be having with them, and that situation is normalized, and that's how we are going to be surviving in the interim period.
Before I let you go, we're going to speak about the floods that have affected Vhembe, to be more specific, and we hear that there are people who have been swept by water, and amongst those, one of the minors is here at the hospital. How is the child recovering so far?
Yeah, the child is well and stable and recovering. The child is in the pediatric ward, just adjacent to the ward here where we are, and the child is well and normal.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Well, Thulasizwe, there you have it. It looks like the hospital is in functional, but let me just allow my camera colleague, Herbert Memela, to show you the wards, the TB ward, as to how dark it is. He's going to show you some bit of visuals as to how it's looking like. We can see that it is dark, and we've seen slight movement of patients at the side, but overall we can see that the hospital is indeed operational, because we have seen patients coming in through the gate and others, they are going home. And also another thing, we heard that the hospital has been over flooded. Thulasizwe, I can assure you that the hospital is not over flooded, but the place that is actually affected by the floods is those villages that we are from, including the Manganya village that we are from in the morning, and also the village that we were at when we spoke to our colleagues earlier in the morning. But coming from this side, we have seen that nothing has been really damaged. The roads are smooth, there's no potholes, everything is okay. And speaking of the hospital, everything is also okay. We can confirm to the viewers at home that the operationals are going smoothly, there are no disruptions. For now, Thulasizwe, let me hand it back to you in studio.
Thank you for that. Nonhlanhla Ntshingila reporting there about the situation at the Malamulele Hospital there, about the power outage and how it has specifically affected the TB ward, but the rest of the hospital continues to be operational. You heard there from Nonhlanhla the links that management themselves are sort of drawing between what has happened and the weather, adverse weather conditions, of course, subject to further investigations as to what has transpired that has had that effect on that hospital.